The notification on Maya Lin's phone glowed with an urgency that made her stomach churn. Come to Delta House. Now. We need to talk about our final project. It was 11 p.m. on a Friday. Maya, an architecture student surviving on cheap coffee and a precarious full scholarship, should have been studying for finals. Instead, she threw her only decent coat over her pajamas, put on worn-out sneakers, and ran across the damp campus of St. Jude University. The final project was her only chance. If she and her partner, Oliver, the campus golden boy, rich, charming, and lazy, didn't get an A, she would lose her scholarship. Oliver had promised to handle the graphics while she did everything else: research, writing, calculations. He had been her boyfriend for 6 months, a relationship that seemed like a fairy tale to her and an inside joke to his friends. When Maya arrived at the Delta fraternity mansion, the music was so loud it made the windows vibrate. It didn't look like a study session. She pushed open the heavy oak door, and the smell of stale beer and expensive perfume hit her. She found him in the center of the main hall, standing on top of a coffee table, holding a red plastic keg like a trophy. Oliver. He was laughing, face flushed, surrounded by the university elite, girls with handbags that cost Maya's annual tuition and boys who never had to work a day in their lives. Maya froze. She felt small, invisible, a gray smudge in a technicolor world. Oliver, she called out, her voice drowned out by the noise. But he saw her. His smile didn't falter, in fact, it became sharper. He signaled for the music to be turned down. The silence that followed was sudden and cruel. Look who showed up! Oliver shouted, stepping down from the table with a theatrical stumble. My academic secretary. Nervous, cruel laughter rippled through the room. Oliver, what is going on? Maya asked, hugging her own body, feeling the chill of humiliation start to rise up her neck. You said we needed to talk about the project. The project? He laughed, throwing his head back. Ah, darling. The project is already submitted. I sent it this afternoon. What? But I haven't even reviewed the final part. No need. I just put my name on it. Maya's world stopped. The sound of the party, the laughter, everything became a distant buzz. What did you say? She whispered. Let's be realistic, Maya, Oliver continued, walking toward her, speaking loudly for his audience to hear. You're a scholarship student. No one takes your name seriously. I did you a favor by dating you. It was charity. But now that the semester is over, well, I need someone who fits into my future. And you? You barely fit into my present. He turned to a stunning blonde girl, Jessica, a senator's daughter, who watched everything with a sneer, and draped his arm around her shoulders. Besides, Jessica will edit my work better than you. The betrayal was twofold. He hadn't just stolen her work, he had stolen her future. Without that credit, she would lose the scholarship. She would be expelled. You can't do this, Maya's voice trembled, hot tears of anger stinging her eyes. I did everything. I wrote every word. And who is going to believe you? Oliver mocked, stepping closer, the smell of strong alcohol on his breath. I am a Van der Woodson. My father donated the library building. You are nobody. The room exploded in ooze and laughter. Someone threw an empty plastic cup that hit Maya's shoulder. She was surrounded by wolves in designer clothes. The urge to cry was overwhelming, but pride kept her standing, even though her legs felt like jelly. She turned to run, to flee that nightmare, but crashed into a solid wall. It wasn't a wall. It was a chest covered in a black leather jacket. Silence fell over the room for the second time, but now it was a different silence. Heavy. Terrified. Maya looked up. Standing before her was Liam Blackwood. Everyone knew Liam, but no one spoke to him. He was the campus ghost. An engineering genius, terrifyingly intelligent, filthy rich, but who hated parties, fraternities, and, apparently, humanity in general. He had gray eyes that looked like winter storms and a reputation for being ruthless. He wasn't looking at Maya. He was looking at Oliver, over the top of her head. "You're blocking the exit," Liam said. His voice was low, calm, but it cut the air like a razor blade. Oliver, who seconds before seemed like the king of the world, shrank visibly. "Liam, man, we were just having fun." "It's just Maya, the scholarship girl who—" "I know who she is," Liam interrupted. He finally lowered his gaze to Maya. For a second, the coldness in his eyes softened, replaced by something she couldn't decipher. Curiosity? Anger? Without saying a word, Liam took off his own leather jacket. The scent of sandalwood and rain enveloped her as he placed the coat over her shoulders, covering her pajamas and her shame. The act was so intimate, so protective, that the entire room held its breath. Liam looked back at Oliver. "You said you sent the project this afternoon, Oliver?" "Why yes," Oliver stammered, the arrogant smile disappearing. "Strange," Liam said, pulling his phone from his pocket. "Because I'm Professor Holloway's assistant this semester. And I was reviewing the inbox just now. The only file I received with your name on it was corrupted." "Empty." The color drained from Oliver's face. "What?" "No, I checked." "Looks like you failed, Oliver," Liam said, with a corner-of-the-mouth smile that didn't reach his eyes. "And considering the deadline closes in." He looked at his expensive wristwatch. 20 minutes, I'd say you're screwed." Oliver panicked, pushing Jessica aside and running toward his laptop at the DJ booth. Chaos settled over the party. Liam didn't wait to see the disaster. He placed his hand gently on Maya's back, guiding her to the door. "Let's go," he murmured. Outside, the cold night air seemed to cleanse the toxicity of the house. Maya stopped in the middle of the lawn, shivering, pulling his jacket tighter. She looked at the boy who was the university mystery. "You lied," she said, her voice weak. "His file wasn't corrupted, was it? You didn't even check the email." Liam stopped under the light of a street lamp, illuminating half of his angular face. He lit a cigarette with slow, precise movements. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. He took a drag and exhaled the smoke into the night sky. But now he's going to spend the next 20 minutes in a panic trying to resubmit, and the system is going to overload because everyone leaves it to the last minute. He's going to miss the deadline for real. Maya blinked, shocked by the calculated and brilliant cruelty. "Why did you do that? You don't even know me." Liam turned fully toward her. The intensity of his gaze made Maya's legs weak again. "I saw you in the library, Maya. Every day. Table 4, left corner. You draw structures as if they were going to breathe." He took a step forward, invading her personal space. "I didn't save you because I'm a good Samaritan. I hate bullies, but I hate seeing talent wasted on mediocre idiots like Oliver even more." He held out his hand to her. "You have 20 minutes. I have the key to the private engineering computer lab. The internet there is 10 times faster than the fraternities. If you have the backup of your work, we can submit it with your name before his gets into the system." Maya looked at his hand. It was large, with long, calloused fingers. Accepting that hand meant declaring war on the most popular guy in college. It meant entering Liam Blackwood's world, a place where she didn't know the rules. But then she remembered Oliver's smile as he humiliated her. She remembered all the nights she spent awake doing his work. Maya straightened her spine. The sadness vanished, replaced by a cold determination. "I have the backup on my drive," she said. Liam smiled. This time, it was a real smile, dangerous and devastatingly handsome. "Then let's destroy his future and save yours." Maya took his hand. And as they ran together through the darkness of the campus toward the engineering building, she knew her quiet, invisible university life had just exploded. And she was ready to burn it all down. The engineering computer lab looked like the bridge of a spaceship. Monitors glowed in the dark, the constant hum of servers was the only music, and the air was chilled to a clinical temperature. 11:54, Liam announced, sliding an ergonomic leather chair toward Maya. You have 6 minutes to rewrite the history of your semester. Maya's hands shook so much she could barely type the password to her cloud drive correctly. The adrenaline from the run across campus was turning into icy panic. What if the file was corrupted? What if the internet went down? What if Oliver, somehow, had her password? Breathe, Liam's voice came from behind her, close to her ear. He didn't touch her, but his presence was a physical, grounding weight. Focus. Forget the party. Forget him. It's just you and your work. Maya closed her eyes for a second, inhaling the scent of sandalwood still radiating from his jacket on her shoulders. When she opened her eyes, the cursor stopped shaking. Click. Download. Open. The file loaded. Sustainable Housing Complex Final Rendering. It was her life's work. Months of structural calculations, sleepless nights drawing eco-efficient facades. And there, on the cover, was the name Oliver had deleted. She deleted his name. With a vindictive pleasure she had never felt before, she erased Oliver van der Woodsen and typed, in bold, size 24, Maya Lin. 11:57, Liam warned, looking at his watch. Maya dragged the file to the university submission portal. The blue progress bar advanced agonizingly slowly. 20%. 50%. 85%. Go, 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 she whispered, biting her lip. 100%. Submitted. The green confirmation flashed on the screen, received successfully at 23 hours 58 minutes and 12 seconds. Maya released the breath she didn't even know she was holding and collapsed against the back of the chair. She covered her face with her hands, a hysterical, relieved laugh bubbling up in her throat. We did it. You did it, Liam corrected. He was leaning against a nearby desk, arms crossed, watching the screen. By the way, that passive ventilation design in the atrium? Brilliant. Oliver couldn't explain the thermodynamics of that if his life depended on it. Maya swiveled the chair to face him. Under the blue light of the monitors, Liam looked less like a student and more like a noir film hacker. What happens now? She asked, reality starting to seep in. When Oliver tries to send his. Liam gave a wolfish smile and picked up his own tablet. Remember I said the system would be overloaded? Yes? Well, I might have given fate a little help. He turned the screen toward her. Lines of code cascaded down. I didn't just use the fast internet. I executed a simple script that knocked out Delta House's Wi-Fi for the last 15 minutes. No one at that party could send a Snapchat, let alone a 2 GB file. Maya's eyes widened. You hacked the fraternity? Liam, that could get you expelled. They'll think it was just a provider failure due to heavy traffic. Happens all the time, he shrugged, unconcerned. The point is, the deadline is over. The system is closed. Oliver sent nothing. You sent it. He leaned forward, his gray eyes fixed on hers. Tomorrow morning, he's going to wake up hungover and realize he got a 0. And that you are the only reason the group grade wasn't a total disaster. He's going to come after you, Maya. He's going to be furious. I'm not afraid of him, Maya said, though her hands still trembled slightly. You should be. Mediocre people with too much power are dangerous when cornered. Liam stood up and held out his hand. Come on. You can't go back to your dorm tonight. Oliver knows where you live and he's going to bang on your door as soon as the alcohol wears off and the panic sets in. And where do I go? Maya asked, holding his jacket tighter. My apartment is off campus. It has a guest room. And a lock that Oliver van der Woodsen can't open even with all his daddy's money. The next morning was brutally bright. The winter sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Liam's apartment, illuminating a space that was exactly like him, minimalist, expensive, and cold. Maya woke up in the guest room, her head throbbing not from alcohol, but from emotional exhaustion. She checked her phone. 58 missed calls from Oliver. 120 messages. The first were confusion, Wi-Fi went down, did you send it for me? The middle ones were panic, Maya, answer me, the portal closed, and the last were pure fury and threats, I'm going to end you. You stole my work. You're dead in this town. She swallowed hard and went to the kitchen. Liam was already there, dressed in a simple black t-shirt and sweatpants, making coffee in a machine that looked like it cost more than Maya's used car. Good morning, he said, without turning around. Black coffee, no sugar. It's the only thing I have. It'll do, she murmured, sitting at the marble island. He's threatening me. Says he's going to claim I stole his work. Liam placed the cup in front of her. Let him try. The file has the creation metadata. Your IP, your login, your editing hours. Oliver has nothing but an empty file and a hangover. But we need to be strategic. Before Maya could ask what that meant, the buzzer rang. Not the apartment doorbell, but the building intercom. Liam answered, listened for a second, and smiled. A cold smile. Let him up. Who is it? Maya asked, panic returning. Professor Holloway. And, surprisingly, Oliver, who must have called Daddy crying to get an emergency meeting on a Saturday morning. Here? They came here? I'm the head assistant, remember? Holloway trusts me to triage the crises. 5 minutes later, the door opened. Professor Holloway, a short, stern man with glasses, entered first. Right behind him came Oliver. He looked terrible, red eyes, messy hair, and still wearing the shirt from the night before. When Oliver saw Maya sitting in Liam's kitchen, wearing an oversized t-shirt, which obviously belonged to Liam, and holding a coffee cup, he stopped as if he had hit a wall. You. Oliver hissed, pointing a trembling finger. You're sleeping with him? Is that it? Did you two plan this together to sabotage me? Sit down, Mr. van der Woodsen, Liam ordered. His voice was calm, the voice of someone who controls the room without needing to shout. And watch your tone. You are in my house. Professor Holloway looked from Liam to Maya, an eyebrow raised, but focused on the problem. Oliver claims there was a massive technical failure and that Ms. Lin misappropriated the joint project, maliciously removing his name. Maya opened her mouth to defend herself, but Liam placed his hand over hers on the counter. The touch was firm, a clear signal, let me handle this. Professor, Liam began, grabbing his laptop. I analyzed the server logs. At 23:58, a file was submitted by Ms. Lin's account. It is exceptional work. I also checked the edit history of the cloud document. He turned the screen to the professor. 98% of the edits were made by Maya's account. The only contributions from Oliver's account were. Liam squinted at the screen, changing the title font to Comic Sans and then back to Arial. Twice. Professor Holloway's face hardened. He looked at Oliver with academic disdain. Comic Sans, Mr. van der Woodsen? That's a lie. Oliver shouted, his face turning purple. I paid. I mean, I coordinated the research. She was just the intern. She can't do this to me. My father. Your father isn't in this room, Oliver, Maya said. Her voice came out stronger than she expected. She stood up, releasing Liam's hand. She needed to do this. I spent 3 months drawing every beam of that complex. I carried you on my back all semester. Last night, you fired me, remember? Said I didn't fit into your future. She took a step forward, facing her ex-boyfriend. Well, guess what? You don't fit into my present. The work is mine. The grade is mine. Oliver lunged, hand raised as if to grab her arm, a reflex of a bully used to intimidating. In a blur of motion, Liam was between them. He didn't push Oliver. He just caught the boy's wrist in the air. Liam's grip was iron. The biceps under the black t-shirt tensed. "If you touch her," Liam whispered, and the tone was so low and violent that even Professor Holloway took a step back, "I won't just fail you. I will break your arm and then I will ensure that no university in the Northern Hemisphere accepts your transfer." Oliver paled, fear overcoming anger. Liam released his wrist with disgust, as if he had touched trash. "Get out of my house," Liam said. Oliver looked at the professor, seeking salvation, but Holloway was already packing his notes. "Mr. van der Woodsen, I'll see you in my office Monday to discuss your conduct and your probable failure of the course." Oliver left, slamming the door, taking the remnants of his dignity with him. The professor sighed, looked at Maya, and nodded briefly. "Good work on the project, Ms. Lin. It is rare to see such talent." He looked at Liam, a glimmer of understanding in his eyes. "I see you've found someone on your level, Mr. Blackwood." When the door closed again, leaving them alone, the silence returned. But it wasn't heavy. It was electric. Maya leaned against the kitchen island, her legs finally giving way. "You defended me." Liam turned to her, pouring himself more coffee. The mask of coldness returned, but his eyes were warm. "I defended the truth. And, incidentally, the best architect in the freshman class." He took a sip of coffee and stared at her seriously. "But this isn't over, Maya. Oliver is an idiot, but he's a rich and vengeful idiot. He's going to try to destroy your social reputation, since he couldn't destroy your academic one." "What do I do?" she asked. Liam placed the cup on the table and crossed his arms. "The Hale Urban Design Competition opens for registration next week. It's the most prestigious competition in the country. The prize is an internship in New York and a grant that would make your fathers look like pocket change." "I know the competition," Maya said sadly. "But it's pairs only. And no one will want to pair up with the scholarship girl who betrayed her rich boyfriend, which is what he's going to spread around." "I want to," Liam said simply. Maya blinked, stunned. "What? You? Liam Blackwood, the engineering lone wolf? You never do group work. You rejected the best seniors." "I don't work with people because they slow me down." He stepped closer to her, invading her personal space again, but this time Maya didn't retreat. She leaned in. "But you have the vision. I have the engineering to make that vision stand up." He held out his hand again, like the night before. "Let's enter the competition. Let's win. And let's make Oliver van der Woodsen watch from the front row while you become untouchable. What do you say, partner?" Maya looked at his hand, then at the gray eyes challenging her to be great. She smiled. "Where do I sign?" Returning to the dorm that Saturday morning was like walking through a minefield. Liam had lent her an oversized gray hoodie with a subtle NASA logo, claiming her coat over pajamas would draw too much attention. The irony was that wearing Liam Blackwood's hoodie, the most inaccessible guy on campus, was the equivalent of painting a target on her back. As soon as Maya entered the lobby of the women's dorm, silence fell. 3 freshmen who were laughing near the mailboxes stopped abruptly, eyes darting from Maya's face to the hoodie, and then to their phones. Maya kept her head high, clutching her bag strap against her body, and marched to room 304. When she opened the door, her roommate, Chloe, a fashion student with pink hair and zero tolerance for nonsense, was sitting on the bed, surrounded by magazines and wearing a grave expression. "You're alive," Chloe said, letting out a sigh. "And wearing the engineering ghost's wardrobe. That is a statement." "It's just a hoodie, Chloe." "No, darling." Chloe turned her phone screen toward Maya. It was YIKAC, the campus anonymous gossip app. The feed was a torrent of poison. The architecture scholarship girls swapped the Delta Prince for the engineering recluse in one night. Someone is desperate to secure their future. Heard she stole Oliver's project and ran to Liam to cover it up. Maya Lin, from saint to social climber in 12 hours. Maya felt her stomach drop. Oliver was fast, she whispered, sitting on the bed. He flipped everything. He's saying I stole from him. The narrative of the poor rich boy betrayed by the gold-digging girlfriend sells well, Chloe said sympathetically. Half the campus hates you now. The other half, curiously, is jealous because you apparently tamed Liam Blackwood. Maya buried her face in her hands. I didn't tame anyone. We're just going to work together. On the Hale competition. Chloe gasped. You and Liam Blackwood? In the Hale? A slow, wicked smile appeared on her face. Okay, forget the hate. If you guys win this, you won't need a social reputation. You'll be a legend. But Maya. Liam is intense. Rumor has it he made his last lab partner cry because the guy rounded pi incorrectly. I can handle it, Maya said, though she wasn't sure. She looked at the gray hoodie. I have to handle it. Monday arrived with the subtlety of a freight train. Maya avoided the cafeteria and went straight to the engineering building. Liam had sent her GPS coordinates and an access code, Lab 4B. Laboratory 4B was known as the Black Box. It was a space reserved only for doctoral students or geniuses with private funding. Maya punched in the code. The door slid open with a hydraulic hiss. The interior was dark, illuminated only by gigantic computer screens and strips of blue LED light. It smelled of ozone and strong coffee. In the center of the room, a tilted digital drawing table occupied the space, and beside it, Liam was standing, dismantling what appeared to be a military drone. You're 3 minutes late, he said, without looking up. Good morning to you too, Maya replied, closing the door and blocking out the hallway noise. Had to take an alternate route. Looks like I'm the most hated person on campus today. Someone wrote thief on my studio locker. Liam's hands stopped. He dropped the screwdriver with a metallic clatter and finally looked at her. His gray eyes were stormy. Who? Don't know. Doesn't matter. The janitor already cleaned it. It matters, he said, voice low. But we'll deal with that later. The best revenge is massive competence. He pointed to the drawing table. This year's Hale competition theme was released an hour ago, the urban sanctuary. They want a public structure in New York that serves as a refuge from the city's chaos, but is energetically self-sustaining. Maya felt that familiar spark in her chest. The world outside, the rumors, Oliver, the scholarship at risk, disappeared. There was only the problem and the solution. A refuge. She murmured, approaching the table. She picked up a digital pen. Most will do parks or underground libraries. It's too obvious. Agreed, Liam said, crossing his arms. We need height. Verticality. But tall buildings consume energy, they don't generate it. What if it's not a building? Maya began to trace rapid lines on the screen. What if it's a skin? A parasitic structure that attaches to existing buildings, filtering the air and creating suspended vertical gardens? Like a beneficial fungus. Liam watched, fascinated. Biomimicry. Structurally complex. The weight would be a nightmare for existing foundations. That's where you come in, Maya smiled, defiant. Use ultralight materials. Graphene? Aerogel? Expensive, he countered. But possible if we create a tension structure, like a spider web, distributing the load. For the next 4 hours, they entered a rhythm Maya had never experienced with anyone, let alone Oliver. With Oliver, she had to dumb down her ideas so he could understand. With Liam, she had to run to keep up. It was a dance of brains. Maya threw out an artistic, impossible idea, Liam destroyed it with logic, and then rebuilt it with engineering, making it real. They fought. They shouted about aesthetics versus function. Maya called Liam a soulless robot when he wanted to cut a curved terrace. Liam called her an impractical dreamer when she ignored wind speed. But at 2 p.m., they had a sketch. And it was beautiful. This. Maya looked at the 3D hologram floating above the table. This could win. This will win, Liam corrected. He was beside her, shoulder to shoulder. He smelled of hard work and that intoxicating sandalwood. Maya's stomach growled loudly, breaking the solemn moment. Liam laughed, a rare, husky sound that made Maya's heart do a strange flip. Let's eat. I can't go out, Maya retreated. The cafeteria. Oliver and his court will be there. Exactly, Liam grabbed his jacket. We're going to register for the competition. The registration table is in the center of the cafeteria. And we're going there now. The cafeteria was at the peak of lunch hour. The noise of trays and conversations was deafening. When the double doors opened and Liam Blackwood walked in, the noise dropped by half. When they saw Maya Lin was beside him, silence was total. They were a shocking visual contrast. Liam, all in black, tall, with his do not approach aura, and Maya, smaller, but walking with a new steadiness, holding her sketchbooks like a shield. In the center of the hall, a table with the Hail competition banner was set up. And, of course, Oliver was there. He was sitting at the nearest table, surrounded by his fraternity and Jessica. He seemed to have recovered from Saturday's humiliation, laughing loudly at some joke. When he saw Maya, Oliver's smile turned into a grimace of disgust. Well, look at that, he said, loud enough for the hall to hear. If it isn't the traitor and her new charity project. Come to apologize, Maya? Maybe if you beg, I'll let you put your name in the footer of my next paper. Maya stopped. Her blood boiled. Liam made a move to step forward, but Maya placed her hand on his chest, stopping him. My turn, the gesture said. She turned to Oliver. The whole hall held its breath. You know, Oliver, Maya's voice rang clear. I spent 6 months thinking I needed your light to shine. But I realized something on Saturday. What? He sneered. That you're nothing without me? No. Maya smiled, and it was a cold smile, learned from Liam. I realized you aren't the sun. You're just a shadow that was in my way. And shadows disappear when you turn on the light. She turned her back on him, ignoring the gasps of shock, and walked to the registration table. The student volunteer behind the table looked from her to Liam with wide eyes. Names? The boy stammered. Liam leaned on the table, looking directly at Oliver over his shoulder as he dictated. Liam Blackwood. And Maya Lin. Team name? The volunteer asked. Liam looked at Maya. They hadn't discussed this. Maya looked at the project in her mind, at the structure that defied gravity. Architectural revenge? Liam suggested quietly, just for her. Maya laughed and shook her head. No. She looked at the volunteer. Team Nexus. As soon as the volunteer typed it, the name appeared on the big screen above the table, confirming the registration. Maya felt a warm hand on the small of her back. Let's go, partner, Liam said, guiding her away, while Oliver watched, impotent and furious, the girl he had discarded becoming his greatest threat. The war had begun. And for the first time, Maya felt she was on the winning side. The next 2 weeks were a blur of caffeine, differential equations, and the cold blue light of Lab 4B. Maya and Liam had created their own ecosystem. They barely spoke in complete sentences, communication had evolved into grunts, nods, and frantic pointing at screens. Wind load on the north face is too high, Maya mumbled at 3 a.m., eyes burning. Increasing mesh porosity by 12%, Liam replied from the keyboard, not looking away. And adjusting the hydraulic tensioners. They slept in 3-hour shifts on a battered leather sofa in the corner of the lab. Maya discovered Liam snored softly and was obsessive about the symmetry of his sandwiches. Liam discovered Maya hummed 2000s pop songs when solving complex problems and drew caricatures of him in the margins of notebooks when frustrated. The nexus structure was growing. It was a living thing, a bioluminescent web clinging to skyscrapers like ivy, purifying the air and generating energy. It was the best thing Maya had ever created. But outside that hermetic bubble, the storm was brewing. On Tuesday of the third week, the bubble burst. Maya was leaving an art history class when her phone rang. It was the university financial office. "Ms. Lin? We need you to come to Dean Sterling's office immediately." The dean's office was in the administrative building, a Gothic edifice smelling of old money and judgment. When Maya entered, she felt tiny. Dean Sterling, a man with a bulldog face and a three-piece suit, sat behind a mahogany desk. And sitting in the visitor's chair, wearing an expression of fake concern, was Mr. Arthur van der Woodsen, Oliver's father. Maya's blood ran cold. "Ms. Lin, sit down," the dean said, offering no smile. Maya sat on the edge of the chair, hands sweating. "Did something happen with my grades?" "It's not your grades, Ms. Lin. It's your integrity," the dean pushed a folder across the desk. "Mr. van der Woodsen has brought to our attention some worrying irregularities regarding the authorship of the final project for Design I." "The project Oliver tried to steal?" Maya shot back, indignation overriding fear. "I have the digital logs. Professor Holloway saw them." "Professor Holloway is an academic, not a forensic investigator," Arthur van der Woodsen intervened. His voice was smooth, rich, and dangerous. He didn't look like Oliver. Oliver was a spoiled boy, Arthur was a shark. "My son claims you used access to his passwords to alter the metadata. A serious accusation of invasion of privacy and fraud." "That's a lie." Maya stood up. Liam Blackwood was there. He saw it. "Ah, yes. Mr. Blackwood," Arthur smiled disdainfully. "A brilliant young man, but with a history, problematic regarding rule-breaking. His testimony is, at the very least, biased, given your recent, personal involvement." Dean Sterling cleared his throat. "In light of these conflicting accusations, the university is obliged to open a formal investigation. Until the investigation is concluded, your full merit scholarship is frozen." Maya's world stopped. "Frozen? But, dorm rent is due Friday. The meal plan are suspended," the dean said coldly. "You have 48 hours to pay the outstanding fees or you will have to vacate housing and suspend your enrollment." Maya looked at Arthur van der Woodsen. He watched her as if she were an insect he had just crushed. It wasn't about the truth. It was about power. Oliver couldn't beat her on talent, so his father was buying the victory. She staggered out of the office, the sound of her own heartbeat deafening in her ears. She didn't go to the lab. She couldn't face Liam. How could she continue in the competition if she wasn't even an official student anymore? She sat on a stone bench in the courtyard, watching dry leaves being dragged by the wind. She was finished. No scholarship, no home, no college. Knew I'd find you crying somewhere. Maya looked up. Oliver was standing there, hands in the pockets of his cashmere coat, looking smug and restored. "You're pathetic," Maya said, voice hoarse. "Called Daddy to fight your battles." Oliver shrugged, sitting on the other end of the bench. "I used the weapons I have. You used Liam, I used my father. Seems fair." He turned to her, and for a second, the mask of arrogance dropped, revealing something ugly and desperate. "Look, Maya. This can end now." "How?" "Withdraw your application from the Hale competition. Tell the dean there was a misunderstanding about the previous project and that, actually, it was a collaborative effort where I led the vision." He smiled. "Do that, and the investigation disappears. The scholarship comes back. You can even keep Liam, if you want to play with the weirdo. I just want my name cleared and a clear path to the Hale." It was simple blackmail. her dignity in exchange for her survival. Maya looked at the library building, with the name Van der Woodsen carved in stone above the entrance. She would never beat these people. The game was rigged from the start. I need time, she whispered. You have 24 hours, Oliver stood up. Don't be stupid, Maya. You're a good architect, but a terrible player. When Maya finally arrived at Lab 4B, her eyes were swollen. Liam was turned away, working on the facade rendering. Where were you? We have to review the thermal analysis before. He turned and stopped. He saw her face. In 2 long strides, he crossed the room. What happened? His voice wasn't the project partner's. It was the guy who almost broke Oliver's arm. Maya told him everything. The dean, Oliver's father, the frozen scholarship, the blackmail. When she finished, she waited for Liam to explode. For him to break something or yell. But Liam remained frighteningly quiet. He leaned against the desk, knuckles white where he gripped the edge. So that's it, Maya said, wiping an annoying tear. It's over, Liam. I can't pay tuition. I'll have to take Oliver's offer or I'll be evicted on Friday. No, Liam said. Liam, be realistic. I don't have money. I'm not like you guys. I said no. He pushed off the desk and started pacing the lab, mind working at that furious speed Maya had learned to recognize. They froze your institutional scholarship. Okay. But they can't expel you if tuition is paid by another source. What other source? I don't have rich family. I'll pay it, Liam said, stopping in front of her. Maya's face burned. What? No. I'm not going to be your charity case. I'm not a pet project, Liam. It's not charity, he said firmly, holding her by the shoulders. It's an investment. Stop it. Listen, he shook her slightly, forcing her to look at him. The Hale competition prize is $50,000. Your tuition costs what? 15? I pay now, and when we win, not if, you pay me back. With interest, if that makes your stupid pride feel better. What if we lose? Maya whispered, voice trembling. What if Oliver sabotages the competition too? Liam released her shoulders and brought his hand to Maya's face, thumb wiping a tear from her cheek. The touch was so gentle it made her heart ache. Maya, look at what we built, he pointed to the holographic screen glowing in the dark. The Nexus is genius. Oliver's father can buy deans and buildings, but he can't buy genius. He can't buy what we have. He stepped closer, the scent of sandalwood enveloping her, a barrier against the world outside. You are not going to quit. You are not going to accept that worm's deal. You are going to live in my guest room until we sort this out. I am going to pay the damn tuition. And on Friday, at the Hale presentation, we are going to humiliate the Van der Woodsen family with the only thing they have no defense against. What? Maya asked, mesmerized by the intensity in his eyes. Undeniable perfection. Liam pulled away, went to his backpack, and took out a checkbook. Now, wipe your face. We have to recalculate the tension structure. If we're betting our lives on this, it has to be flawless. Maya watched him filling out the check with aggressive handwriting. She realized, in that moment, she wasn't just attracted to Liam Blackwood. She was entrusting him with her life. She took a deep breath, swallowing the fear, and picked up her digital pen. You got the wind load calculation wrong, she said, voice still shaky but steady. Liam stopped writing and looked at her. A tiny, proud smile touched his lips. Then show me how to fix it. Friday dawned with a leaden gray sky, perfectly matching the atmosphere in the Grand Hale Auditorium. The last 3 days in Liam's apartment had been a surreal mix of forced domesticity and academic panic. Maya had discovered Liam drank exactly 4 cups of coffee before 10 a.m. and got incredibly grumpy if anyone touched the thermostat. But she also discovered that when she fell asleep over drafts on the sofa, he covered her with a blanket and turned off the monitors so as not to disturb her. Now, however, there were no blankets or niceties. There was only the arena. The auditorium was packed. Students, professors, and most intimidatingly, the panel of judges, 5 renowned architects from New York and Chicago. In the front row, like kings on their throne, were Arthur van der Woodsen and Dean Sterling. And beside them Oliver, wearing a suit that cost more than Maya's entire life. "Breathe," Liam whispered beside her. He was wearing a fitted black suit, no tie, looking dangerously elegant. He held Maya's elbow discreetly. "Your hands are ice cold." "Arthur is staring at me like he wants to turn me to stone," Maya muttered, clutching her notes folder. "They're going to try to destroy us in the Q&A. Leave Arthur to me. You focus on the vision. Sell the dream, Maya. I'll handle the math." Oliver's presentation was first. His project, called the Crystal Obelisk, was exactly what Maya expected, a gigantic glass and steel tower in the middle of Central Park. It was imposing, phallic, and aggressive. The renders were technically perfect, probably bought from a professional firm, showing happy, rich people drinking champagne at the top. "A monument to human ambition," Oliver concluded, opening his arms. "A structure that dominates the horizon." There was polite applause, led enthusiastically by his father. Arthur took the microphone for the question session. Instead of questioning, he praised. "A bold vision, Oliver. New York needs strength, not timidity." Oliver walked off stage with a smug smile, passing Maya and Liam in the side aisle. "Good luck with your fungus," he whispered, bumping Maya's shoulder. "Hope you brought umbrellas for when the structure collapses." "Team Nexus," the MC announced. "Maya Lin and Liam Blackwood." Maya climbed the steps. The stage lights were blinding. She looked at the audience and saw hundreds of faces waiting for her to fail. The thief scholar. The gold digger girlfriend. She went to the podium and looked for the presentation remote. It wasn't there. She looked at the support table. Empty. Panic rose in her throat. Without the remote, she couldn't advance the slides. She couldn't show the 3D model. She looked to the side of the stage. Oliver was there, holding a small black object in his hand, smiling maliciously. He had stolen the clicker during the bump. Maya looked at Liam, eyes wide with terror. He took the remote. Liam followed her gaze, saw Oliver, and understood instantly. Most people would panic. Liam Blackwood just adjusted his lapel mic and walked calmly to the center of the stage, ignoring the podium. "Seems we've had a technical problem with the presentation hardware," Liam said, his calm voice filling the auditorium. He looked directly at Oliver backstage. "Or perhaps external manual interference." The audience murmured. Arthur van der Woodsen frowned. "But," Liam continued, pulling his own phone from his pocket, "we are engineers and architects. We don't rely on old tools. We build new ones." He tapped his phone screen. Instantly, the auditorium lights went out. A collective gasp swept the room. Then, from the stage floor, holographic projectors Liam had secretly installed the night before sprang to life. It wasn't a slide on a flat screen. It was Nexus floating in midair, spinning in blue and gold, a living, shining structure. "Maya," Liam said, extending his hand toward the hologram. "The stage is yours." Maya's panic evaporated. She didn't need notes. She knew that project like she knew her own breath. She took a step forward, entering the hologram's light. "New York doesn't need more monuments to ego," she began, her voice gaining strength. She looked directly at Arthur van der Woodsen. "The obelisk dominates the city. Nexus heals it." She gestured, and the hologram responded, zooming in on the structural skin details. "Our proposal doesn't occupy space, it creates space. It is a symbiotic parasitic structure. It attaches to existing buildings, using graphene membranes to filter carbon dioxide from the air and transform it into pure oxygen. It is an urban lung. While she spoke about the poetry of the design, Liam took over the technical part, alternating with her in perfect sync. Structural integrity is maintained by a passive hydraulic tension system, Liam explained, manipulating the hologram to show wind loads. We don't use concrete. We use aerogel and carbon nanotubes. The total weight of the structure is less than the glass facade of the previous project, but with 300 times the tensile strength. It was a dance. Art and science. Emotion and logic. Maya wooed the audience, Liam convinced them. When they finished, with the hologram showing Nexus glowing in the New York twilight, there was a moment of stunned silence. And then, applause. Real. Thunderous. Engineering students whistled. Architecture professors scribbled furiously. Arthur van der Woodsen did not clap. He grabbed the microphone, face red with contained rage. Ms. Lynn, Mr. Blackwood, he said, cutting the applause. This is all very pretty, like a science fiction movie. But it is fantasy. You propose attaching this to old buildings? New York's foundations wouldn't support the extra lateral load. Your project is illegal and dangerous. Any competent engineer would know that. It was the final card. Discredit the safety. The auditorium went quiet, waiting for the defense. Maya looked at Liam. He smiled. It was the smile of the predator who just watched the prey fall into the trap. I expected that question, Mr. van der Woodsen, Liam said. Actually, I counted on it. He snapped his fingers. The hologram changed. A technical blueprint of a specific building appeared. To prove feasibility, we ran a full simulation using the blueprints of a real building in Manhattan, Liam said. An old building, with delicate foundations. The Van der Woodsen building on Fifth Avenue. Arthur turned white. How did you get those blueprints? They are private. They've been in the city's public archive since the 1998 renovation, Liam lied smoothly. Maya knew he had probably hacked Arthur's construction company server. And the simulation shows that Nexus not only doesn't overload the foundations, it actually stabilizes them against seismic oscillations, acting as a dynamic counterweight. Liam looked at Arthur with absolute coldness. Our project wouldn't knock your building down, Mr. van der Woodsen. It would stop it from falling. The auditorium exploded. Laughter, cheers, applause. Arthur van der Woodsen, the real estate giant, had just been schooled in engineering by a university student. He dropped the microphone, defeated, sinking into his chair. Oliver looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. 20 minutes later, the judges returned. The lead judge, an architect famous for her strictness, went to the mic. We saw many projects today. Some were expensive. She glanced briefly at Oliver. But only one was revolutionary. Maya held her breath. Liam interlaced his fingers with hers, squeezing tight. The winner of this year's Hail competition, and the $50,000 prize, is Team Nexus. Maya's world spun. Chloe was screaming somewhere in the audience. Professor Holloway was smiling. But Maya could only look at Liam. He wasn't looking at the prize or the crowd. He was looking at her, with a pride so intense it made her want to cry. We did it, she whispered. I said we would win, he replied, pulling her into a hug right there on stage, in front of everyone. When he let go, Arthur and Oliver had already left the auditorium, fleeing the shame. The threat was over. Tuition was paid. The future was secured. Let's get out of here, Liam said in her ear, as photographers approached. I want to celebrate. Celebrate how? Maya laughed, feeling as light as the aerogel of her project. Champagne and caviar? Liam smiled, that rare and devastating smile. I was thinking cheap pizza on the floor of my apartment. And maybe. I'll let you pick the music. Maya took his hand. Sounds perfect. Adrenaline is a treacherous drug. It sustains you during battle, but when the war ends, it abandons you all at once. When the door to Liam's apartment closed, blocking out the world outside, Maya felt her knees give way. She didn't fall because Liam, as always, was there. He dropped the heavy crystal trophy on the entry console and held her by the waist. "Are you okay?" he asked, brushing away a lock of hair that had escaped her bun. "I think I'm going to faint," Maya laughed, but the sound came out half-choked. "Did you see Oliver's face? When you showed his father's building plans? It was the most terrifying and amazing thing I've ever seen." Liam let out a low laugh, vibrating against her chest. "I told you we were going to burn it all down. I keep my promises." He took off his jacket and tossed it onto a designer chair, that probably cost more than Maya's kidney, undid the top buttons of his shirt, and went to the kitchen. Pizza. Cheap wine. And he grabbed her phone and held it out. "Your choice of music. But if you put on K-pop, I'm going to reconsider our partnership." Maya took the phone, smiling devilishly. "Prepare to suffer, Blackwood." 10 minutes later, they were sitting on the fluffy living room rug, with an open box of pepperoni pizza between them and 2 glasses of wine. The speakers of Liam's state-of-the-art surround sound system were playing Taylor Swift style. Liam chewed the pizza with an expression of physical pain while listening to the pop chorus. "This is psychological torture," he grumbled. "This is culture," Maya retorted, relaxed for the first time in weeks. "And it matches victory." They ate in a comfortable silence, the kind of silence that only exists between people who have seen the worst of each other and stayed. Maya looked at him. The city light streamed through the windows, painting Liam's profile in silver and shadow. He seemed less untouchable now. More human. "Liam," she called, her voice becoming serious. He turned his face to her, wine glass in hand. "The money." Maya dropped the pizza crust. "The $50,000 prize. It gets deposited next week. I'm going to pay you back. Every cent of the tuition you covered. And the interest, like you said." The atmosphere in the room changed. The lightness evaporated. Liam placed the glass on the floor with deliberate care and turned fully toward her. "I don't want your money, Maya." "But you said it was an investment." "You said." "I said what I needed to say to get you to accept the help," he interrupted softly. "You are too proud. If I said I was doing it because I care about you, you would have run away." Maya blinked, heart racing faster than on stage. "You care about me?" Liam sighed, running a hand through his dark hair, messing it up. "Maya, you are the smartest person I know. How have you not realized yet?" He moved closer, crawling across the rug until he was inches from her. "I didn't hack the fraternity because I hate Oliver. I did it because he made you cry. I didn't enter this stupid competition for the prize. I have enough money to buy the university. I entered because I wanted to see you win. I wanted to see you shine without anyone casting a shadow on you." Maya felt her throat tighten. "Why? I was just the girl at table 4 in the library." "Exactly," Liam said, voice hoarse. He reached out and traced her jawline with his thumb. "I've been watching you for 2 years, Maya. While everyone else was partying or sleeping, you were there, drawing, calculating, dreaming. I fell in love with your mind before I even heard your voice. And when you finally spoke to me that night, on the fraternity lawn, I knew I was lost." He rested his forehead against hers. "The tuition money wasn't a loan. It was a gift. The Hale Prize is yours. Use it for your masters. Use it to travel. Use it to build impossible things. Just stay." Maya looked into his gray eyes, now so open and vulnerable. The engineering ghost, the boy who hated people, was there, offering everything to her. She didn't need more calculations. The structure was solid. "I'm not going anywhere," she whispered. "And Liam?" "Yes?" "Shut up and kiss me." Liam didn't need a second invitation. He cupped her face with both hands and kissed her. It wasn't a technical or calculated kiss. It was hungry, desperate, and full of promises. It tasted like cheap wine, pizza, and victory. Maya wrapped her arms around his neck, pulling him closer, knocking over the pizza box in the process, but neither of them cared. Epilogue: The New Horizon. The following Monday, the St. Jude University campus looked different. Or maybe it was Maya who was different. She walked through the central courtyard, no longer huddled in her old coat, but wearing a black leather jacket that Liam had insisted she keep. "Looks better on you than on me," he had said. Beside her, Liam Blackwood walked, his hand interlaced with hers, a public gesture of possession and partnership that made every head in the courtyard turn. They passed the Delta fraternity table. The place where Oliver used to reign was strangely quiet. Oliver wasn't there. Rumors said he had taken a sabbatical semester in Europe after the technical incident of the final project. Jessica, the senator's daughter, was sitting with other people and, upon seeing Maya, quickly looked away. "They're staring," Maya whispered, squeezing Liam's hand. "Let them stare," Liam replied, bringing her hand to his lips for a quick kiss. "They are seeing royalty." They arrived at the entrance of the architecture building. Chloe was there, waiting, and let out a high-pitched scream when she saw the two together. "Finally," she yelled. "I was already writing fanfic about you guys because real life was too slow." Maya laughed, letting go of Liam's hand. "I have statics class now. I'll pick you up at 2 p.m., Liam said. "We have a meeting with the New York firm that wants to buy the Nexus patent." "A meeting?" Maya smiled. "Thought we were just going to study." "We are Team Nexus, Maya. We don't study the future. We build it." He winked at her, turned, and walked toward the engineering building, the confident stride of someone who has everything he wants. Maya stood for a second, watching him go, then looked at the blue sky above the campus. She touched her pocket, where the $50,000 check was tucked away, and smiled. She wasn't the scared scholarship student anymore. She wasn't Oliver's girlfriend. She was Maya Lin, architect, winner, and, most importantly, the girl who had cracked the code to Liam Blackwood's heart. She adjusted her backpack on her shoulder and walked into the building. She had a future to design. The end.